braise some meat today, all right? Braising is one of our cooking methods. It's called combination cooking. Who's got a guess why? What do you think I'm gonna combine here to make it combination cooking? Nothing? Crickets? I'd like you to pan the crowd just so we see the enthusiasm level. Ooh. Ah. 2 seconds ago you were all chattering and now the camera's on, I got nothing. Man, if this was the Apollo Theater, I would have just got booed and pulled off stage. All right. It's not because I'm doing pork and chicken, okay? It's because I'm going to use dry heat and moist heat cooking to accomplish my end result. So if I'm braising this pork and chicken, what do you think the end result that I'm hoping for will be? What do you think the texture of the product once it's cooked would be?
Like a nice, moist piece of meat.
So a nice moist piece of meat.
It will pull apart easily.
It'll pull apart easily.
It won't be chewy.
And it won't be chewy. Those are the absolute correct answers, right? If I just grill, just gonna pick it up, handle it, this giant piece of pork, it's gonna burn on the outside before the inside is cooked. It'll also be tough, right? I could do that to the chicken breast. I could even boil them, but I'm gonna braise them. I'm gonna sear the outside of both of these items. Today I'm choosing to do that on the grill so that I get some smoky flavor, right? Then I'm gonna cover them with a flavorful liquid. In this case, I like to call it watery barbecue. I watered down a little sweet baby berets, right? I don't want it super thick. The sugars in the barbecue would burn before the meat cooks, right? So I just kind of thin that out to be a nice thin liquid. And I'm gonna cover these halfway once I've seared them. All right, I've got a kind of Cajun spice rub we're gonna do on the outside of both of these. All right, so I said that I'm going to grill these first. Who could give me another option that's a dry heat cooking method? How could I sear the outside of these with dry heat first? An option other than grilling. Who's got a guess? I could do the oven, but I'm gonna use that that's dry heat.
Griddle?
The griddle? What would be one more?
Saute pan.
A saute pan. Yeah, those would be excellent options, right? So I'm gonna use our grill and just coat these in nicely. Now this has a good amount of fat on it, so I'm not gonna add any oil or anything here. If I get a little flame up on my grill, will I panic, freak out, scream?
No.
No. I'll just calmly move it with my tongs, okay?
Is it run off?
What?
Is the hood on?
The hood is on, and I've also preheated the grill. So I can put those once they're seared on the outside, meaning I get a little caramelization, color, flavor developing. I can smell it. I'll put it right back in these pans, and I'm gonna cover them halfway with liquid, and then cover it with foil. At that point, what I'm doing is turning from dry heat cooking to moist heat. That's exactly right, Yenith. That's why it's a combination cooking method, right? It's gonna use 2 parts, dry heat, moist heat. The other little memory tip here is that we're gonna cook it low and slow. Good? So we've taken our pork off. I've got some nice grill marks on there, some char. There should be some smokiness that's imparted. We've seared all sides of it. So I was just talking about braised short ribs. Most things that we braise would be cuts of meat that would typically be very tough if we didn't cook them in this low and slow process to break down the protein and the connective tissues in the meat, okay? This used to be considered poor people's food, right? You take a roast or a cheaper cut of meat and you sear it, you add some flavor, and then you cook it for a long period of time. You exhibit patience and you get something that's flavorful and tender, right? This isn't go buy the nicest filet in the world and braise it, right? That's a cut of meat you just could sear or grill and it's already tender. Okay? Nowadays, we don't cook at home for ourselves that often. We might throw stuff in the crock pot. That's the way we braise in America, right? Or if we went out to eat, we might spend a whole lot of money and order a braised short rib at a restaurant because we're gonna pay somebody else to patiently sear each side, make a flavorful liquid, cook it over a long period of time, right? How many of you want to go home and braise something? I got one kid, Ashton. Go ahead and pan over to Ashton. Evidence. Quick, easy braising liquid.
Just like that whole finger.
Right? And I am going to cover this at least halfway to 3/4 of the way. All right? And you can throw things like fresh garlic, just all the garlic in there, fresh herbs, onion, carrot, celery. What's that called? Onions, carrots, celery, mirepoix, right? To build flavor. I'm doing this super neutral, so all of you tomorrow can build flavor, or Wednesday, build your own flavors in this, okay? All right, I'm gonna cover it, put it in the oven, and then 4 hours later I'll check it. You have to stay and film it for 4 hours.